Okay, let's just look at the numbers for a second because the box office charts from February 2026, they make absolutely no sense.
None at all. They're baffling.
I mean, if you walked into a major studio, say 5 years ago, and you pitched a movie filmed entirely inside a rusty metal drum,
Uh-huh.
set in an ocean of blood with zero A-list celebrities and a marketing budget of like $0, you'd be laughed out of the room.
Laughed out. They would have called security. It breaks every single rule in the book.
And yet here we are. The movie is Iron Lung. Self-financed, written, directed, and edited by a YouTuber.
And it just opened to nearly $18 million domestically.
It's right up there, neck and neck with a new Sam Raimi blockbuster.
It's a total statistical anomaly,
Yeah.
but it's also, I think, a blueprint. This isn't just about a YouTuber movie. We're looking at a complete disruption of the entire Hollywood supply chain.
From the script all the way to the screen.
Exactly. From how it gets greenlit to how it ends up on 4,000 screens.
That is precisely what we're going to unpack today. How did Mark Fischbach, who the internet knows as Markiplier, how did he bypass the whole machine to turn this niche indie game into a box office hit?
We've got the box office reports from Deadline, production notes, some great interviews.
And some really sharp analysis on what some experts are calling the trust lasagna.
Which is my favorite new business term of the year, by the way. It's perfect.
Oh, we will absolutely get to the lasagna. But first, we have to start with the game itself. Because this wasn't Mario, this wasn't The Last of Us, this was Iron Lung.
Right. If you're looking for a big property to adapt, you usually want mass appeal. Iron Lung, from developer David Szymanski, is pretty much the opposite of that. It's minimal, it's claustrophobic, and it's terrifyingly vague.
For anyone who hasn't played it, the setup is pure cosmic horror. Sometime in the future, all the stars have just vanished. An event they call the Quiet Rapture.
Chilling.
And you play a convict who's been welded inside this tiny submarine, and you're dropped into an ocean of blood on a desolate moon.
And the gameplay isn't. It's not action. You aren't fighting sea monsters. You are, for all intents and purposes, completely blind.
You navigate using coordinates and a really grainy still camera on the outside. You just snap a picture, wait for it to slowly develop, and you just pray you don't see something looking back at you.
It's pure distilled dread. And that's what Markiplier really latched onto. He didn't just play it for his channel, you know. He got obsessed with the lore.
He said it connected to these SCP-style Blood Lake stories he was into. He identified with that deep fear of the ocean, the isolation.
And this is where the whole story first veers off the Hollywood path. Normally, getting movie rights is a nightmare of agents, lawyers, option agreements.
Years of back and forth.
Right. Mark just sent a DM.
He literally just slid into the DMs. He messaged David Szymanski on Twitter and basically asked, hey, do you want to make an Iron Lung movie?
And that simplicity, it's actually really dangerous to the studio system. That simple question in Hollywood kicks off years of what they call development hell.
Oh, yeah. The script gets rewritten by a committee, the director drops out.
The budget gets cut, the vision gets diluted. Here, you just had two people, the creator and the adapter, just saying yes.
Szymanski actually said in an interview that he figured even if the movie is terrible, it'll probably boost game sales, so why not?
A pretty safe bet, really.
But he also said he knew Mark wasn't just some funny internet man. He could see that Mark really understood the very specific flavor of horror the game was going for.
And that mutual respect is the foundation for all of this. But let's be clear about something. The term self-financed really glosses over the insane amount of work involved.
For sure. He put up the budget himself. Most reports say it was around $3 to $4 million.
Which is, you know, pennies for a Marvel movie, but that is a life-changing amount of money for an individual.
And he didn't just write the check. He wrote the script, he directed it, he starred in it, and this is the part that sounds like actual madness to me, he edited the entire thing himself.
All while still running his YouTube channel and his podcasts. He was editing on weekends for 3 years. It's a grueling schedule.
Total control, though.
Total control. And because he was the financier and the editor, he controlled the technical side. Which brings us to the NACMO.
The NACMO rig. I was reading about this. It sounds like something out of a NASA facility.
It's a massive motion control system. Since the whole movie is inside the sub, you can't just, like, shake the camera to simulate movement. They built the set on this huge hydraulic rig that physically threw Mark around.
There's this great little story from the set. Apparently, like, day 3 of filming, the crew, these are seasoned union Hollywood pros. They were all looking at the monitors and whispering to each other, like, wait, this is actually going to be good.
That's the moment it goes from a vanity project in their eyes to a serious film.
Yeah.
But the real headline grabber, the thing that proves Mark's insane commitment, is the blood.
We have to talk about the blood record. You can't do a deep dive on Iron Lung without talking about the fluid dynamics of a blood ocean.
This is where his old engineering degree really comes into play. It's amazing.
So, just for context, the old record for the most fake blood used in a movie was the 2013 Evil Dead remake. They used about 50,000 gallons.
A respectable amount of blood.
A respectable amount. Mark looked at that number and just decided to completely obliterate it.
He didn't just want to beat it. He wanted to set a record that nobody would ever touch again.
The Iron Lung production used over 79,800 gallons. It's like 300,000 liters. But what I love is how he got that number.
It wasn't a guess.
No, he literally used his biomedical engineering background to calculate it.
I saw those production notes. He did the math. It was based on the pump flow rates. They had 2 Honda WH-20 pumps running at 80% capacity for 7 hours straight. He actually calculated the volume.
It's so unbelievably nerdy. He's standing there covered in red corn syrup going, well, the flow rate was 190 gallons per minute, so it's absurd.
But that absurd specificity, it came with a real cost.
Yeah.
He actually ended up in the hospital during filming.
Wait, really? Because of the blood?
Yeah. He was submerged in it for so long, and so much of it got in his eyes that they got severely infected and inflamed. He basically sacrificed his vision temporarily for the shot.
That's commitment. But, okay, technical skill and record-breaking blood don't automatically make a good movie, right? We've seen plenty of video game movies that look great but just feel hollow.
That's the classic adaptation trap. And the Iron Lung game is, by design, repetitive. You sit, you check coordinates, you take a picture, you wait. You put that on a screen for 2 hours straight and people will walk out.
So how did they get around that? I know Szymanski was on set as a consultant.
They came up with a golden rule. You can bend the game's logic for the movie, but you cannot break the core feeling.
Bend, don't break. I like that.
It meant they didn't suddenly turn it into an action movie. If Mark had added, sea monsters ramming the hull every 5 minutes or flashbacks to his family on Earth, it would have broken the isolation.
It would have ruined the whole point.
Exactly. The core feeling of Iron Lung is helplessness. So they kept that. Mark's character, Simon, is alone. He's blind. He's just using these grainy cameras.
But they did add things. They expanded the lore, added that voice on the radio, Ava, the commander. They gave more backstory on the Quiet Rapture.
They gave the audience just enough narrative breadcrumbs to hang on to, but they leaned into what some critics later called purposeful tedium.
Purposeful tedium. That sounds like a terrifying strategy for a wide theatrical release.
It's unbelievably risky. The Hollywood model assumes you have the attention span of a goldfish. It wants a jump scare or a dopamine hit every couple of minutes. Iron Lung just asks you to sit in the dark, in the silence, and just wait.
It prioritizes atmosphere over everything else.
And somehow, that risk paid off. Which brings us to the business side. How on earth do you get millions of people to see a movie about purposeful tedium when you have $0 for billboards or TV ads?
This is where we get to the trust lasagna.
Yes.
Okay, lay it on me. What is the trust lasagna?
It's this concept from an industry analyst that explains why this whole thing worked. It's about layers of buy-in. So layer 1, the base. The fans trust Mark.
Of course. He's got, 38 million subscribers. He's been at this for 14 years. They know he's not just phoning it in for a quick cash grab.
Exactly right. That history is crucial. Then layer 2, Mark trusts the source material. He didn't just buy the rights and hand it off to some studio writer. He clearly respected Szymanski's work, and the gaming community saw that respect.
Ah, so that gets the hardcore gamers on board, the ones who would normally be skeptical.
Precisely. Now, layer 3 is the crossover. The fans, because they trust the product is genuinely good. They bring the normies, their friends, their family to see it.
So it breaks out of the bubble.
It breaks out of the bubble.
Yeah.
And finally, layer 4. The theaters trust the money.
And this is the part that blows my mind. The distribution, he didn't start with 4,000 screens.
No, not even close. And this is the most brilliant move in the whole campaign. He launched in about 60 theaters. That's it. But he went to his audience and said, I'm not spending money on ads. If you want to see this movie, you need to call your local theater and ask for it.
He weaponized the politeness of his own fan base.
He did. He created an army of polite callers. Can you imagine being a theater manager and suddenly getting hundreds of calls all asking, yes, Hello, do you have the Blood Submarine movie, please?
I would like one ticket for the man in the metal drum.
Exactly. And theaters or businesses, when they see that kind of demand, they supply. It just snowballed from 60 screens to over 4,000 internationally, purely on grassroots demand. His fans became his distribution team.
It's unprecedented, and the result was nearly $18 million on opening weekend, just domestically. It smashed all the projections.
It beat the Melania Trump documentary.
Yeah.
And landed right behind San Help, the new Sam Raimi film.
Which had to be a surreal moment for Mark.
I mean, can you imagine? You're in a box office battle with Sam Raimi, the guy who made Evil Dead, the very movie whose blood record you just shattered.
Yeah.
It's almost too poetic.
It really is. But what does this mean for the industry? I've seen some people call this the reverse return to Silent Hill effect. What is that?
Well, we've seen so many video game adaptations fail because they try to appeal to everybody, to the general audience, and they end up appealing to nobody. They dilute the source material until it's unrecognizable.
Right.
Iron Lung did the opposite. It succeeded by leaning harder into its niche. It wasn't a movie for everyone. It was a movie for Iron Lung fans, and it used their passion as the engine.
We have to be fair, though. Not everyone loved it. The critical reviews were, let's just say they were polarized.
That's a very polite way of putting it. There was a huge divide. Mainstream critics from places like The Guardian or Empire,
Yeah.
they were not impressed. They used words like leaden, boring, monotonous.
Ouch. I saw one that said, at least Mr. Beast's stunts get him outside.
Yeah, that feels a little dismissive. It shows a real disconnect. They're looking for a traditional Hollywood movie. But if you look at the horror-focused reviewers, they were praising the cosmic dread, the incredible sound design. One even called it an excellent filmmaking debut.
And what about the fans? Did they care about the bad reviews?
Not even a little.
Yeah.
For them, the movie's success was validation. It proved that a YouTuber isn't just someone screaming at a webcam. They can be legitimate filmmakers.
Mark's reaction was perfect, too. He went on a live stream right after the numbers came out, just laughing at the absurdity of it all. He wasn't defensive, he was just enjoying it.
And that's part of the trust lasagna, right? That transparency. He takes the audience along for the ride, for the wins and the losses.
So let's zoom out. What's the big takeaway here? Is every streamer going to make a movie now? Is this the new normal?
It's definitely a wake-up call. Iron Lung proved that the industry gatekeepers, the distributors, the marketing firms, they aren't essential if you own that audience relationship. But, and this is a really big but, you can't just copy and paste this model.
Right. I can't just go film myself in a cardboard box in my backyard and expect an $18 million opening.
Exactly. I mean, Mark is a unicorn here. He has a 14-year track record of making high-quality narrative projects. He's built this massive reservoir of goodwill. If some random influencer tried this with a low-effort product, it would flop spectacularly. The quality and the authenticity still matter.
He said his goal wasn't just to make money, but to bridge that gap between YouTuber and filmmaker, to prove that it was possible.
And he did. He showed you can take a weird niche indie game about an ocean of blood, treat it with the utmost respect, and beat Hollywood at its own game.
It's genuinely inspiring, and that actually leads to the final thought I want to leave you with today. Mark said his goal was to provide inspiration for other people.
It's a powerful message.
I mean, think about it. This is a guy who used engineering math to fill a tank with 80,000 gallons of fake blood, who spent his weekends for 3 years editing a movie by himself, who took a huge financial risk on something the experts would have laughed at.
And he didn't ask for permission. He didn't wait for a studio executive to give him the green light.
Exactly. So if a YouTuber can use fluid dynamics to break a horror record and outsell major studios just by asking his fans to make a phone call, what is stopping you from pursuing that unqualified passion project you've been sitting on? What is your ocean of blood?
Maybe don't fill your actual garage with blood, though, for legal reasons.
Good advice. Start smaller. Maybe just a bathtub.
Or, just write the script first.
That works too. Thanks for listening to this deep dive into Iron Lung.
It's been a pleasure.
We'll see you next time.